This seminar, focused on first-time homebuyers, is brought to you by Bob Weibrecht. Bob is a real estate professional and team leader with Coldwell Banker Gundaker here in St. Louis. His goal is to provide cutting-edge information to the public. This audio is a fine example. Our presenter today is Mr. Kim Doherty. Kim has been in the industry since 1978 and has a broad background in real estate brokerage and appraisal. Today, he travels the country doing seminars and conventions focused on the residential marketplace. His audiences range from real estate brokers and agents to consumers just like yourself. Today's topic is how to be a smart first-time homebuyer. I'm sure you'll agree it's a very timely topic. So let's dive right in, shall we? Here's Kim.
Hi, my name is Kim Doherty. I commend you for taking time to listen to this audio program. We think you'll find the information valuable and timely. We've divided the content into the following 8 categories or 8 chapters. Chapter 1 is now a good time to buy my first home. Chapter 2, finding the right home, how to shop in today's marketplace. Chapter 3, financing, securing the loan that meets your needs. Chapter 4, price and value, what's the house really worth? Chapter 5, negotiations, getting to a yes with the seller. Chapter 6, paperwork and details, the I-dotting and T-crossing needed to reach your goals. Chapter 7, making the move as easy as possible, checklists to make sure things get done. And Chapter 8, the close, where do we go from here? Each chapter or category is short, and at the end of each you will hear about key checklists that your agent has to help you stay on track. At the very end of the program, we'll remind you to get back to your agent to set up a meaningful meeting to explore your wants, needs, and logical next step. For now, we're off to Chapter 1. Chapter 1 is now a good time to buy my first home. The answer to the question is, of course, it depends. It depends on many things, but let me ask you some real-world reality questions. When have home prices last been at current levels, and how soon will they move upward? When have interest rates been this low, and how soon will they move higher? When has there been a more attractive inventory of homes from which to pick? And how long will it be until it becomes more of a seller's market? I would also like to share with you now that I have many knowledgeable friends in the real estate industries, some lenders, some appraisers. There are attorneys and real estate agents and brokers, all of which have encouraged family members and friends to move forward, to look at buying now because of the favorable buying opportunities and incentives. But the real bottom line for you does involve your individual goals, timetable, and personal circumstances. So share with your agent your questions, concerns, and realities. And for now, we're off to Chapter 2, Finding the Right Home. Chapter 2, Finding the Right Home, How to Shop in Today's Marketplace. Let me start out by asking you a question. What have you been hearing and reading about real estate around the country? What about your area? And what about your price range? Now I feel compelled to say something I know you probably already know. Not everything we've been told over the past few months or year is in fact true. In some cases, the reports and the street talk is way off base for many areas and our price ranges. And I'd like to also do a quick aside about foreclosures and short sales. Please understand up front, those are possibilities. However, they're not for most homebuyers because of the details, the intricacies, the time frames, and the potential roadblocks and complications involved in going from A through Z, whether you're buying a short sale or a foreclosure. I'm not saying don't explore those options, but please understand it's not as consistent or as cut and dry as the typical real estate transaction, so be prepared. Now let's get back on track to helping you find the right home. We're going to look at 5 key ingredients to remember in your quest to find that home. Number 1, there is no perfect home, also known as the 85% rule. The perfect home just doesn't exist. Never has, never will. There's always something. Even people who have a home built custom to their specs, to their wants and needs, will tell you that partway through the process, they find out if they ever did it again, they'd change this, they'd modify that. Bottom line is, there is no perfect home. So when you find a property that meets about 85% of what you're looking for, which is quite a bit, that's about as good as it's going to get. Move forward. Buy the house. Item 2, ingredient 2, the good ones go fast. Properties that are priced right, aggressively, and look great, they just don't last long in any market. Some are gone in days, some even in hours. Do some sit around on the market for weeks and months? Yes, of course they do, but not the gems. And our guess is you're probably after a house that not only met your wants and needs, but those of other buyers in your marketplace. So when you find the right one, move forward before someone else makes it their home. Issue number 3, ingredient 3, pre-owned or new construction, condo or traditional single-family detached homes. What do you want and need? What features, benefits, and realities are most important to you? Again, your agent will sit down with you and go through features, benefits, and realities of both new construction and pre-owned. Ingredient number 4, think resale before you buy. How long do you see yourself living in your first home? Will you keep your first home as a rental when you move on in life, or will you sell it like most of us do? Your wants and needs are very important, yet at the same time, remember, someday you may want or need to sell. What do most buyers in your area value? And ingredient number 5, your agent is your most valuable resource to finding the home that is best for you. Your agent will search the MLS and beyond to bring the best to your attention. Inform your agent up front of your wants, needs, and priorities, and provide ongoing feedback as you explore your options. The key here is communicate, communicate, communicate. Now, some of the most popular checklists to help you find your first home are as follows, and there are 8 in no special order. Checklist number 1, searching for your first home, 11 questions to ask yourself. Checklist number 2, prioritizing your needs as a buyer, 30 plus home buying issues to consider. Checklist number 3, location, 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 7 characteristics of an economically sound neighborhood. Checklist number 4, are you a ready, willing, and able buyer? 7 critical issues to consider. Checklist number 5, 9 issues to consider before buying a condominium. Checklist number 6, 5 plus of the most common hidden defects in real property. Checklist number 7, a proven 3-step approach to selecting the right home, which, by the way, is one of my all-time favorites. And checklist number 8, the top 10 service providers you want to consider using in the purchase of your first home. In a moment, we're back, and we're off to Chapter 3, which is all about financing. Chapter 3, Financing, securing the loan that meets your needs. Will you want or need to get a home loan? Most buyers do, over 90% to be exact, especially first-time home buyers. Sit down with your lender to get pre-approved before you look at houses. Ask the lender questions. Discover what your options are. What types of loans are there, and which ones might best meet your needs? Your agent will help you ask good questions. Have your lender explain the features, benefits, and realities of each option. Remember, if something sounds too good to be true, you might not be hearing all of that which you need to know to make an objective decision. So, when in doubt, check it out. Ask more questions. Have them clarify items. Read the good faith estimate and other important information that your lender will provide to you up front. Then when you're ready, select the one loan that is best for you and move forward. Now, here are 7 valuable and popular checklists for this chapter on securing the loan that best meets your needs. And again, they are in no special order. Checklist number 1, 5 questions to ask yourself when shopping for the best loan. Checklist number 2, 6 ideas on how to buy a home with little or no money down. Checklist number 3, 5 types of mortgages that will save you thousands of dollars. Checklist number 4, evaluating yourself from a lender's point of view. 5 critical areas to consider. Checklist number 5, 14 questions to ask all lenders. Plus, your agent will have 12 additional questions that focus on fixed-rate mortgages and another checklist that has 26 questions directed toward adjustable-rate mortgages. Checklist number 6, 6 items that combine to make up your monthly mortgage payment. And checklist number 7, the home loan application checklist. It's designed to help you get ready for that first meeting with the lender. Okay, now what we're going to do is take a short pause for you to refresh. We'll be back and we'll move straight on to chapter number 4, which is about price and value. Chapter 4, Price and Value. What's the house really worth? Your agent will help you review data, both general and specific, that will enhance your ability to objectively assess what the property's value might be. Not only what it might be to you, what's the house worth to you, all things considered, at what price, if any, could you see yourself owning the property? Plus, we'll also take a look in the data analysis on how others might see it. What's the typical buyer going to say with respect to the price and value on the property, all things considered? In the end, though, first think about what is it worth to you. At what price could you see yourself owning the property? Next, we're going to actually want your agent to sit down with you and do what is called a competitive market analysis, also known as a CMA. At the very least, the report will show you recent sold comparables, comparable properties that are currently under contract or pending sale. The report will also show you competitive expired listings, meaning those that were on the market similar to the price range and area that you're looking that have failed to sell. The report will also have in it competitive current listings and general market activities that are worthy for your consideration. You might also consider writing your offer to purchase with an appraisal writer attached. Your agent will explain this option if and when it becomes an important item in your situation. Now we'll move into 5 checklists on the topic of price and value that you have access to through your agent. Checklist number 1, 8 different types of value, and the one most people care most about, which is market value. Checklist number 2, 4 characteristics of value every home buyer should remember. Checklist number 3, 22 items to consider when shopping for a neighborhood. Checklist number 4, 7 things every consumer needs to know about a real estate appraisal. And checklist number 5, updated X-rays of the market, focused on the home you're thinking of buying. Now we're ready to move on to chapter number 5, negotiations, getting to a yes with the seller. Chapter 5, negotiations, getting to yes with the seller. 4 points to consider. Point number 1, flexibility is powerful. Prioritize your needs and wants. Consider giving in on items that aren't very critical to you but might be of high importance or value to the seller. Point number 2, look at things not only through your eyes but through the eyes of the seller. Be aware of the seller's point of view. Remember, they have wants, needs, timetable, and hot buttons. So take a pause periodically in your negotiations and look at it empathetically, not sympathetically, but empathetically through the eyes of the seller. Point number 3, through the eyes of the marketplace. What are the facts and circumstances telling you about how this property fits in to the others that are at your basic availability? Keep in mind, the ones that are priced right aggressively and look great as they hit the market might go fast. And point number 4, package you and your offer so that both will capture the attention of the seller and the seller's agent. Again, your agent will help you on this one. Now, the 2 most popular checklists on this topic, negotiations. Number 1, 6 truths about today's marketplace designed to help you stay objective. And checklist number 2, 6 keys to making you and your offer look great to the seller and the seller's agent. Okay, in a moment, we're going to move on to chapter 6, which is about the paperwork and details. Paperwork and details, the I dotting and T crossing needed to reach your goals. Is there a lot of details and paperwork to go from A through Z in the home buying process? Absolutely. And there seems to be more and more each day. We are far from becoming a paperless society as it pertains to the buying and selling of real estate. There is paperwork like the agency forms, where you get to select and find out, does the agent, your agent, work for you or with you? Then there are the contracts, the typical real estate sales contracts, and the special contracts, those that might be used, for instance, like by a builder. There's the offer and counteroffers, and then there are the many potential inspections by the county, by the municipality, that the lender requests, that the buyer, you the buyer, request. And then there are contingencies like financing, building inspection, and the list goes on and on. The good news, your agent deals with paperwork during each and every transaction. If you have questions or concerns on legal issues or any other area of specialization, your agent will, rightly so, direct you to the person that can best answer your question. If it's a legal question, your agent will direct you back to your attorney. If it's a question on, say, a building inspection, your agent will point you back to the building inspector that did the report. That's in your best interest. Now, here are 6 frequently used checklists on the topic of I-dotting and T-crossing. Again, in no special order. Checklist number 1, 10 of the top service providers you might want to consider using in the purchase of your first home. Checklist number 2, 6 essential elements that most real estate sales contracts must have to be valid and enforceable. Checklist number 3, 8 ways to protect yourself when buying your first home. Checklist number 4, 21 common closing costs. That obviously ties in to your getting your first loan on your first house. Checklist number 5, a home warranty checklist for first-time home buyers. And checklist number 6, the final walkthrough, 36 plus items to consider before closing. Our next stop is Chapter 7, which is actually focused on your actual move. In a moment, we're back to dig in. Chapter 7, Making the Move as Easy as Possible. Checklists to make sure things get done. This entire chapter, which is very, very short, is all about 3 categories of checklist. Checklist number 1, a general moving checklist for first-time homebuyers. Checklist number 2, making your move less stressful. This checklist actually gets you, the buyer, started 90 days before your moving date. It's one of my favorites. And then the third category, if you will, are checklists that are very, very specific. Your agent has checklists to help kids make the move easier. There's a checklist about pets, how to move them easy and safe, and even a checklist on plants. Let's face it, all 3, the kids, the plants, and the pets, all need special attention. The key to making the move as easy as possible is get organized, stay focused, and check things off as they get done. And now we're ready for our final chapter, Chapter 8, Where to Go From Here. So in a moment, we're back.
Chapter 8, The Close. So where do you go from here now that you've completed this brief audio program? The logical next step is simple. Get back to Bob Weibrecht to set up a time in which you may explore together the services and tools discussed in this seminar. Bob wants to help you find and secure your first home. He's prepared to help you successfully navigate through what can be an intricate home buying maze. So drop him a line and schedule the meeting that will help you move closer to the home of your dreams. For Kim Doherty and Bob Weibrecht, we hope you've enjoyed this presentation, and thanks so much for listening.